So, as you guys know, we had an executive session. We met with Mr. Munden, who informed us of many things that we didn't know, and has given his recommendation for different things. We'd like to have him come forward and kind of explain some of what he's told us, what the board can do, can't do, etc. Mr. Reinblum.
Where would you like me to stand?
You can just.
Ryan Munden, Ryan Keeter and Schreier, 250 Main Street, Lafayette. So with respect to the county election board's authority and as it relates to election law violations, there is one code section that permits or grants the authority to the election board to assess civil fines, and that relates primarily to campaign finance reports and things of that nature. With respect to other violations, including the violations alleged in the civil lawsuit that's pending, the only authority that the county election board has with respect to those violations is to refer it to the prosecutor's office for prosecution. The county election board has no authority beyond that. There's currently a lawsuit pending related to those violations, and at some point the court will enter a substantive order on that lawsuit. So with respect to those violations, the authority is limited only to a referral and nothing beyond that. So, and there's also allegations of a Federal Hatch Act violation that is definitely not within the purview of the county election board. In fact, that code section under USC authorizes only the Office of Special Counsel for the United States government to investigate and enforce that federal statute. That's certainly not within the scope of what this board can investigate or do anything about, and the same would apply for even the county prosecutor.
Okay, thank you. After speaking with Mr. Munden, and I would like to make a motion that we go with his recommendation. Due to the pending lawsuit, we would take no action until after that lawsuit has been decided. And then we will reconvene to do something that's not very professional, but that would be my motion.
Okay, and I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor? I'm sorry, you want to say something?
Yeah, you said we'll reconvene.
To decide, unless the court says that we can't, we would.
Will you say we'll reconvene after the decision by the court?
Right.
Got it.
Okay. Got a motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Mr. Munden, you're free to go, unless anybody has any questions. He's trying to get on vacation. He's
Thank
loaded
you.
up and ready to go.
Okay, and then about the complaint, I think it was stated that the election board isn't going to take any action until after the lawsuit is settled through the court. Did I get that right?
Correct.
Did I get that right? And then the action that would be taken would be addressing the actual complaints.
Correct, because the tort will be settled at that point. The lawsuit will be settled, and whatever the court decides, the court decides.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we'll pick up, and then we'll make a decision on the complaint itself.
on the issues in the complaint, okay. And then the other thing is that you voted, well, your attorney said that anything other than campaign finance, we'll say that, things
We
that...
said in general.
In general, right. And then everything else is a referral to the prosecutor's office. But you voted to take no action until after. So are you waiting? Would you be referring to the prosecutor's office? Because you didn't say anything about that.
Yeah, because we haven't made a decision on what we're gonna do. But we're not gonna make that decision until after the court makes its decision. So we don't, one doesn't affect the other.
Okay. So you wouldn't go ahead and make a decision about the complaints? I mean, you guys have already reviewed the campaign finance reports,
Right.
but there are some questions there still. One candidate has listed a company as giving a donation, contribution, and that company does not seem to exist. And I think Sharon told me that there was a form that they have to fill out to say who it was. And I
Yeah, on the campaign finance report,
Yeah.
if it's over a certain dollar amount, they have to put, which you guys have seen that too, they have to put the name of the business, what the business does, and how, and what they gave, whether it was an in-kind, cash.
and I don't think that happened.
Okay.
Did it?
I don't know. I don't know what you're referring to, so I don't know.
Okay.
I'm totally in the dark, because I hadn't heard anything about that.
Well, I just looked at the campaign finance reports, and I looked at the businesses, and I went to the State Board of, the Secretary of State's website to do a business entity search. And this one business is not listed there. And there's no name listed for the business. And
Okay, so your question is, do they have to list the name of the person that owns the company?
I think you told me that they do.
I believe that
So
is
that-
what the paper states.
So that you know that one person isn't exceeding the amount they can give or whatever that is.
Yeah, I believe that is on the top of the CFA form. You
But,
have to-
but did
I
they?
guess we're gonna need to see, we'll have to look at that particular.
You already looked at it.
Well,
You already approved that report.
okay, but
And-
apparently we didn't catch it. If
Well,
we did.
I'm kind of thinking,
So,
but maybe
I'm
you
glad
did and
brought
I
it to our
just,
attention.
well, maybe you did and I just didn't
So
catch
just,
that you.
just so that you know, individuals aren't limited, so, that individual, the owner of that business, didn't have to put their business name at all, they could have just put their personal name, and there is no limitation.
I think they did. And then they put a business name too.
Well, that's.
But it's not a business. I mean, that would be the kind of thing that you guys would investigate, right?
Because then
Yeah.
we would have to look at that and say, if it came from personal funds, from a personal checkbook, then there's no problem, because whether they put the business name on there or not, it came from personal funds, and there's no limit on personal donations.
But when you looked at that in a meeting, wouldn't you kind of comment on that and
If we knew.
make
that-
it
But if we knew that.
public?
But if we didn't know that the company didn't exist, how would we,
How, well,
I mean, we didn't take the time to go through and.
Don't you?
You did. Not usually. I mean, if,
okay. I mean, it kind of seems like you would, just because,
so Deb, what we're looking for is, there's a company's name on the form, and I'm looking to see if they've exceeded the donation requirements for a corporation. So if that amount doesn't exceed, there is no violation. I don't care if it's an individual or if it's a business, there's no violation. Okay. So she's gonna grab the form so that we know what to
I
look
see.
for.
well, and I don't think it has to be, I mean, you know, I wondered if that's the type of thing that you would be looking at when you were looking at the campaign
At
finance
least for
reports.
me, I'm looking at, if they list a business name or corporation, does it exceed the limit? And if it doesn't exceed the limit, it wouldn't matter if the company existed or not, in my opinion. Because if the company didn't exist, then it just goes back to the individual that says they own that company.
And there's no limit?
There are plenty of people in this county, I can guarantee you, that have company names.
Oh, I know, yeah,
That don't register them with the state.
yeah.
So that individual may have said, I don't want to put my name on there, but you can put my business name.
But there's no limitation on a personal,
Yeah, but maybe they didn't want
okay,
anyone to know that they donated to that person's campaign.
I see. I just was looking and I thought, gee, wouldn't they've talked about this? And I didn't know, because you guys didn't talk about it.
Yeah, when you go through, I mean, you've been here when we go through those forms.
Yes, I have.
There's a lot of them, and so I'm mainly looking at limit violations. And I could be wrong that it matters, maybe it does matter that the company name is not legitimate, but I don't know why it would.
I don't know why anybody, well,
They have their own reasons.
okay, I didn't know, and I thought this was the place to ask.
Okay, so if it's contributed by an individual, they have to have their full name, occupation, and mailing address if they contribute more than $1,000 personally. If it's a corporation, that is,
I want to say it's 5,000.
no, over $100 per contributor. So if it's a corporation, it goes on, and that's asking for the contributor's full name and full mailing address. But if they file it under a corporation, under the,
Well, I don't know, I guess I don't know.
She's questioning
Yeah.
why we didn't catch it, and I guess what I'm saying is, even if it were a corporation, which it can't be because it's not registered, even if it were a corporation, it didn't exceed the limitations for a corporation. And for a DBA that's not a corporation, there are no limitations.
okay. So
But wouldn't you
yours
want the
goes
name
back-
of the people who were
So you're
contributing?
not questioning whether or not it was,
Oh, yeah, you're right, it should have,
And there
so
aren't,
you're saying on that form, it just has a company name, but no person. Okay, so I see what she's saying.
okay, so it says that's part of the question, and then the other part is the amount that they can give?
yeah, that's always confusing to me, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so
So in that,
So I missed some of the conversation, but for the gist of it, you're not questioning the amount necessarily that they gave, just that they not put down the required elements in order to be.
Well, you don't know
a
what
contributor.
you don't know what it is. I mean, you don't
So
know if it's,
who the
you don't know,
person is.
yeah, and you don't know
So-
who
So
contributed.
even
So is that something that we can go back and,
I would think we'd ask
I
them to
mean-
modify it.
is it,
I was thinking that too.
is it something that we have to have something written, or can we say it's been brought to our attention that this has not been filled out properly?
How would we would
That-
have, we
I
should
know.
handle it as we did, I'll just give the example, when Tony was missing something on his form, we asked him to modify it, they gave
Amend?
him
Not modify.
yes, amend. And then he came in and did it, he had a certain amount of time, we need to follow that procedure.
Okay, so
Would you agree,
we're
Cindy?
treating it, we're gonna treat it as, only because that's the definition, a defective report. So we're gonna start that whole process over, we notify him, he has 10 days to fix it.
Well, you gotta look at it first.
Right.
I mean,
Right,
you
well,
don't
that's-
take
no,
my
no.
word for it,
No,
you
that's
know?
what I'm saying, that's what I'm saying, if that, we're gonna start that process again. So he has 10 days to fix it, if he doesn't fix it within the 10 days, then once we determine that it needs to be amended.
So why don't we,
So should we look at
Hold
all
it.
of them again? And make, I mean, but how are we gonna know if it's a, okay, we don't need to know if it's a corporation or not, we just
I
need to
assume
make
Deb's
sure
went
that
through them
it's.
all. Or did you look at that one particular person?
I'm
I did my
we don't
best.
need- We don't need to look and verify that they're actual corporations, per se. We just need to make sure that
That
all of
there's
it's
a
filled
name.
out correctly.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, I
And
can see where we have to go through and see.
That's what I was gonna
legal
say.
It's been
stuff.
I mean, she brought it to our attention, we need to at least pull the one that she found
Is in reference to.
and refer to it, have it amended. I don't think anybody's doing anything purposely. And again, I don't know who this person is, what report it was. I don't think anybody's trying to pull anything, it just ain't filled out right.
Have the
Thanks for
time.
bringing it to our attention, we'll pull that,
I appreciate it.
we'll pull that and we will ask it to be amended.
If we.
If we see that. it's-
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna probably need some of your notes on this.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna get that all wrote up, right? So,
Was that your third one?
I'm kind of thinking it was the fourth one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
so you added one.
Well, I kind of stopped in the middle and then went back, yeah.